For me, the whole role of magic is that of a technique, a medium through which I work, rather than an end result. The same way that a painter will use paint and substances and brush strokes to create certain kinds of emotional responses or optical responses that you have to a canvas. Magic, too, creates illusions and images. It does it in a three-dimensional world in real time, however, so the demands of the medium are extremely exacting.
The New York Times called you a mouth-filling phrase, a conceptualist of sorcery.
Many magicians look on this art form as a bunch of tricks, as a bag of entertainment, a con game. My attitude and my approach to it is much different than that. To me, all of those aspects are very much there, but those are the givens. Those are simply the techniques that we use to achieve which are our art, which is eventually some form of communication about some concept, an idea. And so for me, the whole role of magic is that of a technique, a medium through which I work, rather than an end result.
About your new work will feature illusions based entirely on paper, both figuratively and subjectively.
Yes. It deals with paper both as an object, as a subject, as a concept. Paper to me, is really our attempt to imprint our mark on the world, to search for our immortality. Paper is something which is a very fragile medium. The thing that makes it so incredibly intense is because it is so easily destroyed. And yet we trust our most important secrets and documents to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful world of rayon. And now, here's your host, Professor Papier.
Hello, welcome to the wonders of fiber. On today's show, we're going to talk about rayon, that miracle fiber we all know as the best friend the silkworm ever had.
Excuse me, who are you?
Why, I'm Professor Papier of the Paris Mache family. I won't go into my family tree right now.
That's good, thank you.
Who are you?
Peter Samelson, I'm doing a paper show here.
Paper?
Yeah.
Why would you ever want to do a show on paper?
You see, paper is basically essential to our lives. I know, it rips easily. I know, you get it wet, it gets soggy, it tears apart. Strong gust of wind, it blows off the table. The cats play with it. I mean, if you set a match to it, it burns. I know, it's totally destructible, very flimsy. But if it's important in this society, it ends up on paper. It doesn't exist, nothing's real. If I were to return this 20 to you, how would you know that it's the very same bill that you're giving me at this moment? That's one way. It's another way. We'll give you a claim check. Absolutely a unique claim check, no duplicate. Did I ever tell you I used to work as a cashier in a bank? I did. I worked as a third cashier. Never made it up to first cashier. But that's okay, I got to do all the fun stuff anyway. They bring in all the old bills. They're soft, warm, silky, like tissue paper. And in the presence of the official who writes down all the numbers, they take them down in the basement. And they burn them. I like this. I used to save the ashes. After a while, I realized I had $1 million. And I used to take the little bags, and I'd go out shopping. I'd never go into the shops because they'd think I was crazy. One day a man came into the bank. He took out a large amount of money. Took out so much money it wouldn't fit in his wallet, so he took his wallet out of his pocket, laid it down on the counter, and put the money back where the wallet was, and he left. He left his wallet on the counter next to my till. So I went to pick it up to give it back to him, to call him back to say, "Sir, you forgot your wallet." And when I picked up the wallet, all these things spilled out of it. Credit cards, driver's license, pictures of his children, private letters. But you know, this is where a man lives. This is where a man lives. Is in his wallet. In a special sealed compartment. Letters. Inside of the letter. Inside of the letter. You know, I've always wanted to know. Tell me, sir, who was that letter from? I'd like to know if this really is your bill. Yep. And if you don't feel comfortable with that bill being ripped like that, take it out at intermission and buy something in the lobby.
Excuse me. May I see your papers, please?
I beg your pardon?
May I see your papers, please?
Yeah, sure, I've got it. Times over here.
Mind if I look at your papers?
Well, yeah, I've got a passport.
If you don't mind, I'd like to see your papers.
No, I don't have a passport.
Please see your papers. I need to see your papers, please. No, not those papers. Your papers. I need to see your papers now. I need to see your papers now. I need to see your papers now. Now I need to see your papers. I need to see your papers now. Now I need to see your papers now. I need to see your papers now. Papers, papers, papers. I need to see your papers. Papers, papers, papers now. Papers. Yes. Your birth certificate. Everybody's a critic. You know, I passed out keys to several people in the audience. Would you just stand up with them wherever you are? Got them? Would you just sort of stand up? That's great. Do me a favor. Take a step towards an aisle. That's great. Just take a step. Then take a step towards the stage. And sort of keep doing that until you make it all the way up here. Great. Just drop your keys right there. And once you drop your keys, just come and stand over here in Critics Row. I didn't know if you noticed, but I saw these people out there in the audience. We have critics here tonight. Let me introduce you to them. We have a number of them here. We have Mr. Frank Rich from the New York Times. Hi, very nice to meet you, Mr. Rich. He's a violent man, very violent. Come right on out here. This is Liz Smith. I don't know if you recognize her. The Daily News. Yes, hi, very nice to meet you. She's not really a theater critic, but she likes to review things in her column. Love your columns. Love your columns. How do you do, Mr. John Simon from New York Magazine? Thank you very much. Boy, sharp man, sharp wit. And of course, Mr. Clive Barnes. I don't know if you recognize him. He's rather rejuvenated, married a younger woman, and is in great shape these days. Now you see, it turns out that Damocles was invited for dinner, and hanging above his chair was this sword, suspended by a single long human hair. So, well, in some ways, that's the situation that we performers find ourselves in. We tend to criticize, we tend to say things would be a little different if we had our way, and try to point things out. But hanging over our heads, it's not a sword that hangs over our heads, it's reviews. You see? So in order to dramatize that, I thought I would sort of take this moment to do that. There is one key here that does unlock the lock. There are four that do not. Liz, do me the honors. You just take them, shake them up, make them thoroughly mixed up, and pass them out amongst your friends. You're very close to the edge of the stage there, sir. Don't step over. I like to savor these moments. Let's start tonight with Mr. Simon. I think that he will like the sort of the ironic sense that I have in this evening's show, although he might find it a little presumptuous, but I think on the whole he's going to like it. Sir, insert the key in the lock. Turn it. You don't have to look so disappointed. Thank you. You can drop the key right there.
We have 3 more chances here. Let's go now with Mr. Frank Rich, a man who insists on intellectual integrity, a man who likes to put his stamp on the acceptance or rejection of a piece of theater. You're going to keep trying, sir. Let's go next with Clive Barnes. Try it. Terrific. Pull the key out and drop it down there. Now, Liz, forgive me if I don't sit underneath here. Forgive me even more if I don't let you sit underneath there. Do me a favor and insert the key into the lock. It's nice to know who your friends are, isn't it?
Given up all hope for a pennant victory. A hush had fallen on the stadium when, just as in the days of the Sultan of Swat and the great Bambino, the Yankee Clipper, one crack of the bat set fire to the stands and the crowd. The onset of cold weather has brought home the plight of the homeless. What they once were, normal people like you and I, people with homes, jobs, hope and promise. Today they have nothing. They sleep in doorways, in cardboard boxes, on the tops of subway grids. Wrapped in newspaper, they seem to appear out of nowhere. We are no longer surprised, but almost amused to discover them in our doorways. They are everywhere.
It's their thermal quality. Warm. And I also like to read them was. I read about this guy, Arthur Stone. Arthur Stone was a mathematician from Britain, and he was at Princeton, 1930. Tore the edges off of his papers because they were too big to fit in his British notebooks. He started folding those papers, and he made a thing. He made a thing called a flexigon, because it would flex. Had two sides to it, a white side and a black side. 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Arthur Stone based his work on truth. Germany based its on lies. But for them, the orders were written down in black ink on white papers, and they were clear. They rounded people up. And in the concentration camps, they made the Jews wear yellow. And it was written down in black and white. And the communists they made wear red. And the Jews yellow. The criminals they made wear blue. The communists were red. The Jews yellow. The communists were red. The Jews yellow. Homosexuals were purple. It was written down in black and white. Maybe some things don't have two sides to them. But you know, science can't explain everything. It can't explain my little matchboxes. But I wanted to talk to you about paradise. It's a study in balance. It was paradise. So why do we use so much paper? You know, this guy doesn't understand. He wants to talk about rayon. Doesn't he know? Rayon's made out of the same stuff that paper is. It's all just cellulose. Maybe we use all this paper because we're just trying to get back to paradise. Yeah, that's it. That's why we use so much paper. It's all the trees. We're trying to get the trees. And maybe all the stuff we write down, maybe they're just roads back to paradise. And all roads, they say, lead to the same place. Just that some roads have heart to them. Those are the roads to follow. But maybe that's it. Maybe we're going back to paradise, or that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. That's where I'm going. It's time for me to wrap up now.
You might lose some money, it happens. You may lose friends or a ring. Hopefully you get it back as quickly as you did tonight. But one thing that no one can take from us are our memories. And I hope you carry away some wonderful memories from tonight.
Yeah, sure will.
Thank you. But you know, that's the thing. They can burn the books, they can keep us from writing it down, but they can't keep us from thinking. So one of my most favorite memories is this. When I was a child, I used to go exploring through the house, and in my father's study with all his mathematics and his physics books, there was something that always caught my eye. Because on his desk there was a paperweight. It was made out of glass so that you could see through it. and it was filled with water. Inside there was a wintry scene, snow on the ground, and when you shook it up, there was a blizzard, a snowstorm. I always wanted to get inside.